InnerQuest explores various pathways through which you can connect with the infinite wisdom of the universe and apply it to personal, professional, and spiritual growth. This program, featuring accomplished practitioners, educators, and authors, is provided by Infinity Foundation, an innovative center for holistic studies and research. We invite you to share this journey with us.
Hello, welcome to InnerQuest. My name is Jay Stone, your host for today, and our guest is Sandy Rodeck. Welcome, Sandy.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Well, I'm looking forward to having a great show. Sandy is a consulting intuitive astrologer, speaker, and teacher. She is also the founder of the popular online site and monthly horoscope column called Cosmic Clock Astrology and Ask the Cosmic Clock Doc, at which she is read by thousands all over the globe. Sandy, there are many types of astrology and astrologers. Tell our audience what kind of astrology you do.
I actually use, I think all astrologers use their intuition. So that's just part of the faculty process. But I'm using traditional astrology, which is the ancient technique. I'm using contemporary, which is modern plus the ancient. So it's more of a 21st century approach. And then I also use evolutionary astrology, which is about the soul's growth patterns and where it's moving towards and the contracts that it's made.
And so why such an eclectic mix between those three types of astrology?
Because I love the mathematics of it. The mathematics are a little bit different. They're similar, but they're different. So I do have an eclectic type of approach, and it seems to work for me. It works for my clients, and instead of it's not just a predictive type of astrology, I'm more, I don't know. I probably am more like a contemporary detective. Or a 21st century mystic than I am an actual traditional type of astrologer. So putting that all into the mix really makes a well-rounded approach to astrology.
Now, you mentioned mathematics of astrology, and I've interviewed several astrologers before, and some very good ones, but I've never heard an astrologer mention the mathematics. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes. You took geometry in school, probably elementary or middle school. So there's 360 degrees in a circle. We have an elliptical orbit that we're traveling around the sun on. So 360 degrees in a circle, there's 12 signs, there's 12 houses. My approach is the planetary energies are talking to each other in this particular invisible circle, and they're hitting different chakras, your chakra system.
Would it help if I held up a chart?
Yes,
okay.
Yes, it would. In fact, let's see. Probably this one would be a good one here.
Okay. And is this because there's two sides to that?
Yes, no, that's the 12 houses. So there's 360 degrees in the circle, and there's approximately 30 degrees in every house. And as we're all aware, there's 12 sun signs. They start with Aries. There's 10 planets per se.
I always thought it started in January. Was it Capricorn?
Oh, it is Capricorn, which is December 21st, 22nd.
Yeah.
But it's actually spring. It's a spring equinox that we're looking at. So it's a 0 degrees Aries point that we're looking at.
Now, do all charts start with Aries?
No, that is the math that goes into it, the calculation that actually goes into it. We're looking, whenever the sun's rising, it's rising in the east. So when you take your first breath, that's when I take a snapshot of the sky. As soon as somebody calls me, I get their astro coordinates. And their astro coordinates are the exact time of birth, their full date of birth, and the city and state, because we're using longitude and latitude lines. And the sun is in a certain placement in the sky, and that's how I know what the rising sign would be.
Well, you certainly speak intelligently about astrology. How long have you been doing this?
Almost 25 years now.
Wow. And what led you into astrology? Your intuition.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. I grew up, my mom and I were always looking at our horoscope columns in the paper, which was always interesting. We weren't fanatical, but it was something that we looked at, along with reading Ann Landers, too. I guess I was around 19 or 20. I signed up for the Doubleday Book Club. 5 books, your free tote. And
sure.
yeah, and then one of the books that came whenever I opened up the box was an astrology book. It was Linda Goodman's Star Signs books. It was a book I didn't order, and it was the first book I gravitated towards, and I read it, I couldn't put it down. So a week later, once it was completely finished, I called around, and I'm originally from Houston. I called around the different metaphysical bookstores to find out what astrologer they would recommend. So I had an astrology reading, and it was pretty much from that point on.
And how soon after that did you see your first astrologer?
Oh, it was within like a couple of weeks. Yeah, I called around, and I'm like, yeah, I want the best astrologer. I called 2 or 3 bookstores. I'm a Sagittarius Sun, double Pisces Moon, and rising sign is in Pisces. So I always want the truthiest of the truthiest. So whenever I'm looking to meet with somebody for my own guidance.
Now, if someone in our audience was looking for an astrologer, what are the good qualities of a good astrologer?
Someone that has been practicing for a very long time, someone who is highly educated, has been trained by some of the foremost astrologers, and not just in our country, but even outside of our country. So you're looking for somebody who has testimonials. Mm-hmm. So someone that it's not just encompassing, because there are astrologers that are predictive only. It's all fated, that this blueprint here determines everything. They're not about working with the energies. I'm more like an acupuncturist, I guess you could say. Besides just being a contemporary detective doing the mathematics and the configurations, I'm really looking at it's an energy flow. And just like an acupuncturist, is moving energy, it's the same thing. I'm informing the client about the energies that are working, swirling around them, and what's the best use of those energies.
And it's not just what's swirling around inside a person, it's how a person interacts with the energy.
Absolutely.
In the heavens.
Right. Absolutely. Because whenever a client sits down with me, we're talking about habitual patterns that are just ingrained, that people just automatically tap into when they go unconscious. Mm-hmm. So, and that's one of the gifts of astrology.
Now, most people start out with astrology like you did, is they read their horoscopes in the papers or now online. Can you tell our audience, what your perception is of those online horoscopes or newspaper horoscopes?
I did not start out to be a sun sign astrologer by any stretch, but they're very informative.
And our audience may not know what a sun sign astrologer is.
That would be the columns that you're reading in the paper and the magazines online. So it's not specifically related to you, because when you have your astro coordinates are, again, your city, your state, which are your longitude and latitude lines, and the exact time, and then your full date of birth. So when you have that information, it provides coordinates to your unique snapshot of the sky. Mm-hmm. So when you have that information, it provides you with a blueprint that's unlike any other blueprint. Even twins, I have twins charts that I do quite a bit. Even they're unique. Even 2 minutes can make all the difference on how their soul is manifesting in this particular lifetime.
2 minutes?
2 minutes, that's all it takes.
Well, I remember, when I was in high school, there was a woman I was particularly friendly with, and I've stayed in touch with her. We found out many years after high school, we were born on the same day in the same hospital.
Oh, that's interesting. And you would have a lot of do you know how close you were in regards to the timing?
No, I did ask her the last time we were together, because I remember what's on my birth certificate, but she didn't. Mm-hmm. So, next time I see her, I'll have to ask.
Yeah, it's always fascinating to just see the similarities, but the differences, especially when you're looking at a twin, because when there's just 2 minutes timing, and that's it, it's almost as if one part of the soul plays out one piece of it, and another part plays out another part of the chart.
Now, you mentioned that you do soul astrology?
Evolutionary astrology, which is about the soul's growth patterns, where you're going to have the growth spurts and
I would think that's the most important thing, because I think that's what's driving us. It's giving us a sense of purpose and meaning. Could you elaborate more on evolutionary astrology?